Hi, and welcome to the Your Story Studios podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things content creation. And today on the show, we have Constantine, and today we are going to be talking about the Melbourne Video Freelancers. Tell me, Constantine, what is that?
Yeah, the Melbourne Video Freelancers is a group of Melbourne videographers, content creators, photographers that really came about from a LinkedIn post around Christmas time. So, we're seeing all these people having Christmas parties and corporations throwing, having a Christmas drink around December, at the end of December. And we're all on our own, right? We're solo creators. A lot of us are solo creators, solo business owners. I felt like that we were on our own, toasting to ourselves over Christmas. And I made a comment on some post saying, we should have our own Christmas catch up over this time. But, December's a busy time of year, and I decided to throw like a meetup essentially with people. It started off with LinkedIn. I have a network of, other videographers on LinkedIn. And I said, let's just throw Friday night, let's pick a date, and let's get together and, celebrate the year that we've had. That's kind of where it started from.
Excellent. So what was the point of the get together?
Like I said, we're on our own, right? We need a team of other creatives around us, people to help us. We can't do everything on our own. This started off as a small group, 5, 10, 15 people. It's now grown to about 60. So initially, it started on LinkedIn, but then it kind of grew to anyone else can recommend someone who would be interested in being in a group, a safe place where we can ask questions, get help from each other. We might have a piece of equipment that we need, and rather going to a rental house, we put up in the group, hey guys, I need a gimbal for tomorrow at short notice. I need a light. I'm filming next week. My light's broken. Has anyone got a light? It's a safe place where a small group of Melbourne videographers essentially can converse, can talk, can have advice. And it's not one of those big groups like a Facebook group. There's not hundreds, there's not thousands of people in there. It's not all about people trying to promote their work or promote a job or anything like that. It's the smaller the group you have, I feel the more engaged they are and the more likely that they're going to reach out or ask for advice or, ask for help for any sort of reason. Yeah, I just find that a smaller group like that is working really well. And, we can grow, that's fine. And we have regular meetups, every 3 months. But, we've had 15 to 20 people at each catch up. At the moment it's, Friday night in a place in St Kilda where it's a little bit more central for people to get to. But it's just really a place where, other creators and videographers can get together. My wife's sort of sick of me chatting to her all the time about, video stuff that, she may or may not be interested in. But, when you've got 15 other videographers in a room, having a drink and socializing, it's been great. And, making connections is all part of it.
Yeah, I've heard that story before where the husband has no one to talk to except for their wife about the video production, and they start at the start they're polite and smart. And then they're like, go find someone else to talk to about this.
And that's natural.
Yeah. So that's a great advertisement about the group. Going forward, how do you see the group progressing? You said that it's a small group now, but it can grow. How big do you want it to grow?
Look, I don't know if I want it to grow that big, to be honest. Like I said before, there's something in the smallness of it. There's that small community. If it grows, it grows. It's kind of slowed down recently in the last few months, and I don't know if that's a natural thing. I started the group, but it's not really about me, and it's not my group. I don't want it to be my group. I was the one that first started and pulled a few people in together, and it, just kind of grew from there. And I get messages from other, videographers saying, hey, I've got a friend who'd love to be in the group. Yeah, no worries, send me their details. And we've got a good mix of, women and men as well in the group. So it's a really good mix. It's I love that as well. I really feel like I know everyone. I formed some really good friendships in there. We've all got, I think, some work out of it as well, just kind of by chance that someone goes, hey, I need someone tomorrow or next week, and someone's available. And for me, I've had to call in on, photographers at some point, you can't always do video and photos at especially a live event. You either have to pick one or the other, or you do both, and both are okay. But I was
going to say, if you want to do it well, you pick one or the other.
100%. So, sometimes I've been asked to do photos and videos at an event, for example. And what better way than to call on someone who you know that you've met with already, that you've had a connection with, because you're out there working with someone, you got to get along with them, right? So, for example, like Karis is an example in our group, and we met at that function, at that meetup, the videographers meetup, and she got along really well. I'm like, all right, and I needed a photographer a couple of weeks' time. She came in, did a great job, and that's someone I wouldn't have known, wouldn't have pulled in. I don't want to put up a post in a Facebook group that has thousands of people going, hey, you don't know who you're getting, right? You can see their work, right? You can see their show reel, you can go to their website, you can get a feel for someone. But until you sit down like we are having a chat, it's great to finally meet you after listening to your podcast for many a time as well. So, it's until you sit down like this and have a chat, like you get a vibe from someone, to feel, can you work with them? So that's, part of the beauty of the Melbourne Video Freelancers group. I don't know, it feels a bit like a family. Like, there's a post probably every day or two. It's not overly too much, I don't think, as well. Like, it's not like something you've got to turn off your WhatsApp group because it's just, messages coming through. When they come through, you're like, oh, what's on the group? Because it's something important, because either someone needs help, needs a bit of gear. I've put my hand up a few times, someone's needed a drone controller. Someone's needed, one of my Nan light Pavo tubes for a shoot. And someone's going, hey, I need a light. I'll put my hand up, go, hey, yeah. And they'd come to my house, again, get to meet them and, go, hey, don't worry, it's not about payment or anything like that. A lot of the times I'm getting a thank you and a bottle of wine and some chocolates, which is amazing. But it's not a standard, protocol with what we do. It's a small community, like-minded individuals, creators that we can rely on and pull in on that that help from everyone.
Yeah. You mentioned it started on LinkedIn. I haven't had much involvement with the LinkedIn side, but I am a part of the WhatsApp group.
Yes. Yeah.
So is that really the main central communication?
So WhatsApp is 100%. So it started off, like I said, LinkedIn, and I created a LinkedIn chat because I didn't have everyone's contact on LinkedIn, so I used LinkedIn chat as initially was my way of communicating. But then people came in from, like I think I know you from Instagram, maybe from over the last few years.
Fun story for people listening or watching. I do a lot of sports presentation, or I did do sports presentation for the NBL, which is Australia's National Basketball League. And I'll be down on the court videoing the hosts in the arena. And one day after one of my shifts, I had an Instagram message from Constantine here, and there were some nice behind the scenes shots, just in case I wanted to use them for my YouTube videos. And at that point, I hadn't actually met Constantine. Today is actually the first time that I've met Constantine, but I greatly appreciate that because then I was actually able to use that in a couple of my YouTube videos.
Yeah, right.
So
there you go.
That's very helpful.
That's funny because both my kids play basketball and I've played football, soccer my whole life, and my son has for many years. And in the last couple of years, they're into basketball, which is great. I'm even joining a men's basketball team next week. We're starting a team as well. But so we went to that game. It was a Melbourne United game. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I know that guy. And I recognized you from Instagram. I'm like, oh, that's Nathan. Yeah, your story. Yeah, I know that guy. And I'm like, I'll just take. So I took a couple of videos and then I said, hey, and I sent it to you. So that's where that came from. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that because obviously I can't take photos of me doing what I'm doing there. So it was very helpful to have that content.
And now you're part of the Melbourne Video Freelancers group as well. So, welcome aboard.
Thank you. So going forward, we don't want the group to grow too big, but if it does, it does. You mentioned meetups. So talk me through these meetups and the philosophy behind those.
Yeah, so look, I've got to put out one soon, so I'll put out a message saying, hey guys, time for our next meetup. Like I've been trying to do them quarterly, so, every 3 months. Generally, Friday night, Saturday night, somewhere central. At the moment, we've had them at the same venue for the last 3 or 4 times. It's maybe getting to a point where we may have to look at a separate venue. I know Ben Lane, shout out to Ben in our group, is talking about maybe his studio. He might be able to put an event on. It's more about the people, obviously, than the space. The venue is irrelevant, really, but you want it to be a place where you can have a drink or have a meal. A safe environment that we, all feel comfortable in, but also that instigates conversation too. So we don't want, like at a wedding, you're on a big long table and everyone's sitting down and you're only talking to the person to the left and to the right of you. So, I love that kind of standing you better walk around and talk to people. So yeah, look, I'll put out the next one. Feel free to get in contact if you want to be part of the group. I don't mind it growing. I'm not trying to put a cap on it or anything like that. It's not about gatekeeping the group either. I did have to kind of close the group so not anyone and everyone could just add anyone in, because at one point, there were people being added, which is great and I love it, was building, but there kind of needs to be at least some sort of process where, who are they? You can go on their social media to see, okay, yep, they're in the industry, or they don't even have to be in the industry. Like I said, it's not gatekeeping, as such, but it's just making sure, they're legit. They want to be part of the group. We want active people. We want people who, will contribute, and, the same philosophy that, enjoy working with each other, and, we can rely on and get advice from everyone. So yeah, that's where we want to go.
Yeah, excellent. So if there's a Melbourne video producer that wants to join the group, they'll just contact you on any of the socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, anything like that?
Yeah. Give me a shout. LinkedIn, look me up on LinkedIn, send me a message, and yeah, I can add you to the group. And I was trying to do like a bit of a cheat sheet of faces and business names. And so we'd have, look, every meetup we probably have 15, 20 people, which is, a fair group. That's kind of growing with each meetup. And I was trying to do like this kind of poster as such that you can, on the way to the venue, you can, okay, I'm trying to, like rather than having name tags and it looking all like a formal, something that people could recognize people's faces and names. I didn't do that for the last one because it's just getting a bit out of control. But, it's great that everyone's starting to know each other now anyway. So that's kind of irrelevant. Everyone knows their faces, knows what they do. But yeah, come along, have a chat, talk all things video.
Excellent. And if there's someone that's watching or listening right now and they don't live in Melbourne and they think, wow, a group like this sounds really good, maybe I could start one in my city or state or country or whatever, what words of advice would you give to them to actually get them to start something like this?
Yeah, I mean, look, all it takes is a few people, right? So if you only know 2 or 3 other videographers in your area, start a group chat. Like, it's the best way to do it. I use LinkedIn chat because most of my, because I came from a corporate background within my instructional design. So I had a bit of a network already on LinkedIn that I can kind of pull in, reach out and actually go on other people's socials, So if it's not LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. LinkedIn's great because it's a little bit more for the corporate, more for formal sort of video work. Connect with them, send them a message saying, hey, I'm another videographer in this region. Just start your own group. From there, I'd probably recommend WhatsApp to go because you've got their phone number and it's a little bit more, well, not everyone uses LinkedIn messages as like a notification on their phone, so they might not see it until they log in officially. So WhatsApp.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, so yeah, good example. But WhatsApp's probably easier. And also, if it's getting out of control, you can silence a group for a certain amount of time or whatever. So I think that's a good way of doing it. Try and meet up regularly if, every so many months and people know, hang on, it's been a few months and they're actually wanting another meetup rather than, it's another meetup, I can't come to it. So, not having them too often and just make it a group where, everyone's feels safe in being able to ask questions. There's no stupid questions and no wrong answers and everyone's learning. Everyone's at different levels as well. Like, you can get some really young kids who are inexperienced or you can get some old people who've been around for a while, but it's an area where it doesn't matter how old you are, experience you've had, who you are, that we can all, get benefit out of it and make the community stronger in what we do. Because, my wife, when she first heard that I was creating the group, was like, what are you doing? Aren't they your competitors? Aren't they your, competition? Like, I'm on my own now and, I need the work to go and do the jobs. And, aren't these people going to be, they could take your job. I'm like, it's not like that. It's a community where, you want help, we can't do everything on our own. We try, but there comes a point where we need to pull people in, rely on people, trust people. And what better way than to have a group of, people in your area that you can meet face to face and create your own group.
Yeah, I find that in the current climate that we're in right now, a lot of businesses, they rely on video or they want video or they're looking for video. So in my experience, there is plenty of work to go around. So I'm not too concerned about someone else stealing my client. If I've got an established client and then I get them as a production assistant and then they literally steal the client from me and then they start doing the videos or whatever, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But that's probably something that people shouldn't do. And we would advise people not to do that.
There's things that you learn, right? So there's etiquette about freelancing or, your own video business. And, I quickly learned when you're coming in under someone else's name as well, when you're helping them out, you're representing them, right? You're not there on your own. You're not there as you. You've, just got to be aware of your surroundings. And there's even like etiquette where, potentially, I've had some jobs come in from the Melbourne Video Freelancers, the group that we've got, and someone can't do a shoot on a certain day. They go, hey, Con, can you come in and do a shoot? You're like, yeah, no worries. And then you do a good job and the client comes back to you because they know you and they say, hey, we've got a shoot in 2 weeks' time. Can you come and do that shoot? But what you've got to do is get to go back to the person who first referred you to the work and say, hey, they've asked me to do a job in a couple of weeks. Would you like that job? You referred me the work. This is your client. Here you go. They want me back, but that's the right thing to do. More often than not, they go, look, I'm busy. You know what? They wanted you back. You go ahead and do it. But it's really etiquette and making sure that there's things like that you learn along the way.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. Con, thank you very much for joining us on the Your Story Studios podcast.
Thanks for having me.